Okay, so we're gonna do the human IK on the model that we just brought in. Problem is that it's currently in A pose. I need to be in T pose. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly show you how I would go about doing that. All right, so I'm gonna go to, is this on? That's why. I'm gonna go to faces, and I'm just gonna kind of click and drag across the hand, and then I'm just gonna find a ring that I want to do. So I'm gonna go boom, hold shift, double click, so you get a ring, and I'm gonna hold shift and just shift and greater than symbol where the period is, and I'm gonna expand my selection to the point where basically it would start to split. So you can see like right here is that 5-point star. So that's where it will start to split off and no longer be a ring around the whole thing. Okay. Then from there, I'm going to hold B, click and drag. And you can see there's still more shoulder to have. So I'm going to switch to a front view here. And I'm just going to hold Control and Shift. Click and drag. Click and drag. Like, put the soft select down a touch. Okay. And now I'm going to hold E. I'm going to hold D. And I am going to bring up my rotation to where the shoulder would roughly be here. And then I'm just going to rotate this up, and I want it to be straight. As straight as I can get it. Then W, move it up as well, so that it's something like that. And then I'm just going to kind of take this and push this in a little bit. Okay. It's not the greatest. The other thing that I forgot to do is I did not, I gotta turn on the modeling toolkit, and I gotta do symmetry X so it does both on both sides. So we'll just hold Control and Shift, Control and Shift, Control and Shift, Control, Control, Control and Shift, Control and Shift. Alright. Take off a little bit of that. Alright. So let's do that over again. So D, I'm going to move my pivot up and over. And E, rotate this up. Like so. And I'm going to make sure that it's straight as I can make it. And move it up as well. Like so. And I'm going to do B, my selection over again, the soft selection over again. And bring it in, and we're going to call that adequate. Okay. I also need to straighten the arms out this way. So if you look, they're kind of bent. Not kind of bent, they're very bent. So I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to tap B off for a second. I'm going to hold Shift, double click, and I'm going to hold Shift and greater than, and I'm going to expand this until I get to here roughly. And then I'm going to do B, click and drag, like so. And I'm going to go to top view here. And I'm going to move my pivot. I'm going to hold D. And make sure don't grab any of these other handles. I want to grab the little square in the center. And I'll put that roughly where the elbow should be. And I'll hit E and rotate this straight. So I'm going to try and get the arm as straight as possible. Okay. This is a pretty crooked guy. I'm going to expand this. So holding Shift and the greater than symbol. Alright, let's see what this looks like from the middle here. And we'll just go ahead and I'm just going to kind of click and drag. Okay. And if you look, you can see it's actually leaning forward as well. So I got to fix that. So I'm going to E. And then hold D to move the pivot. I'm going to move it to the center here. And I want to make sure it's right on origin. Well, I don't care about being on origin. I just care about being straight. And there we go. Okay. Now, we now got the arms more or less kind of across. But you can see that this is not desirable, right? That needs to be fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Shift S to just save as a version here before I do this next little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the sculpt tool. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go to the sculpting tab here, and I'm going to go ahead and try to use relax first. That's this one here. Now B is brush size and M is strength. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on wireframe on shaded so I can actually see what I'm doing. And I'm going to kind of click to relax this because see I got all kind of crunky. And if you hold shift, it will try to smooth it out. Now, my smooth is actually pretty weak right now. So I'm gonna stay on this, and I'm just gonna go through, and wherever I see things kind of getting pinched or like a bit weird, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw that in. Okay, so see how that kind of cleaned it up? It's not so strange. Now I'm gonna go to the sculpt tool here. Control, so shift is always smooth. Control is, if you just draw, it's gonna pull out. Okay, based on the M, which is strength. B again is brush size. But if I hold control, it actually does the opposite. So I'm going to take this a little bit weaker. Control. I'm just going to kind of tap a bunch to try and get this to go in like an armpit here. And I'll hit shift to smooth it afterwards. Holding shift smooth. And control, control, control. I'm on control while I click and shift to smooth. And it's not too awful bad. Let's just control a little bit more. Alright, and then I'm looking here and you can see there's a big divot there, so I'm just going to actually just draw on that. I'll make this a little bit smaller. We're just going to draw on that little area, then hold shift to smooth. Alright, draw on that area a little bit more, shift to smooth. A little bit of a divot there, shift to smooth. Try to smooth that in general. Alright, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use this grab tool. So B for brush size. It's going to kind of grab this up, hold shift again, and kind of just trying to push that in there a little. Okay, and then I'll just make sure I do shift for smooth, and I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. I'm a big fan of these pulls here. This works well for females, but it's not good for a male model. It's too much of a pull for that area because there's not enough mass. It's more geometry than this is needed on the pectorals or breast area. Probably even more than you needed for a female. Okay, so that looks okay. Okay, let's click off, and I'll turn wireframe on shaded off, and that looks pretty okay. I'm looking at the leg, and it's also a little bit diagonal, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that too. I'm going to go to face, and I'm going to click and drag over an area. I'm going to turn soft select off, and I'm just going to expand my selection to get to the top of the leg here, right there. And then I'll hit B for soft select, like so. And then E for my move tool. Then I'll hold D to move this up. Okay. Which is fine. I'm going to switch to a front view so I can see a little bit better. And I'm just going to go ahead and rotate. Oh, for some weird reason, it didn't move the pivot. So let's move the pivot back up here again. Alright. And I'm just going to go ahead and rotate this a little bit more straight. And that's okay, but if you look, you see the feet are now kind of weirdly crooked. So I'm gonna do shift less than symbol, which will contract my selection, or it will make it crash. There it goes. Okay, it's a bit weird. Okay, so we'll contract, 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 and I'm gonna make my soft selection just a little bit stronger, and I'm gonna hold D, and I'll move the pivot kind of where the ankle is. And I'm just going to kind of re-flatten this out. Good. Okay. Alright, so it's not perfect. Try to do a better job with yours. I just want to make sure everything's kind of on the ups and ups. I'm going to call that kind of satisfactory, if you will. Okay? So I'll go ahead and save this. Control S or Control Shift F saves in this version. And next what we'll do is we'll actually apply the Human IK.